Hello, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends. My name is Yukina Alexandra Nomura, and I am a ordained minister here in the state of Texas. I start all my videos like that. Today, instead of talking about meditation, I want to talk about something different. This whole week, something kept coming up, which was people's perspectives, and and the perspectives of these individuals. Now, of course, with clergy privilege, I can't tell you anything about their perspectives. I can't tell you who they are. You don't know them, or maybe you do, or whatever, so I'm not going to say anything about that. But perspective can be misleading, can be dangerous, and it is difficult for people to understand that there are three types of perspective. There's an old saying that says there are three types of truth. There's your truth, there's my truth, and there's the truth. Excuse me, drinking soda. So I want to talk about perspective and some of the dangers that come with perspective, especially personal perspective. Personal perspectives can be dangerous. It's not always dangerous. It can be. One of the biggest examples that everyone would know about would be Germany's perspective back in World War II. Or more current events would be the world's perspective on COVID-19. There are people who perceive it to be a hoax. There are people who perceive it to be scientifically irrelevant or relevant, or many of these things. So one of the things that makes perspective so dangerous is not seeing it on the outside perspective, not seeing the whole truth. And it's just like people's opinions. It's fine to have an opinion. It really is fine to have an opinion, but if your opinion isn't based on fact, then that's all it is an opinion. Examples, most current examples would be anti-vax. That's the first thing that popped up in my head. People who believe that, that they should not vaccinate their children. That is their perspective. That is their opinion. That is their right to choose on what they want to do. Yes, it is dangerous to not vaccinate your child, because there are so many diseases that human beings can contract and carry, and these things like polio. We eradicated polio, but guess what? If you don't vaccinate against polio, you get polio. And I'm not saying that these people are wrong. My perspective on it is that I believe that they are wrong because it is based in fact. So And, I've seen some of their research that they keep bringing up, but those are based on opinions. There's no research validating the truth about something like that. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not saying that, these people are wrong, these people are right, these people are, whatever. But one of the things about the whole perspective thing, now these are just examples once again. I didn't have any conversations about anti-vaxxing or anything like that. It's all personal opinion, personal truths, and personal perspectives that these people have, and it can be dangerous. So one of the things that I usually like to tell people is, with these perspectives, or with people that they know that have these perspectives, these personal truths, is that you can give them the facts, you can give them the research, and if they so choose to continue believing in that, then that's all you can do. Don't ruin a friendship or a relationship based on personal opinion. Don't, you can debate it, but don't argue it. So, perspectives can be a dangerous thing, For me, I personally look for the truth, the whole truth, not just my own truth. Example is that I was speaking to somebody. This had nothing to do with clergy privilege or anything like that, of how different parts of the world reacted to the coronavirus, or COVID-19. The lockdowns, the now more recent, phase 1 openings here in the U.S., and how some places in the U.S. feel that they are not ready to open, which is fine. Don't, for something that could be, something that could be dangerous, deadly, or could cause harm, make sure that it's backed by research before you try to do something too fast. Here's a personal example. I recently just started stretching my ears, and before I even bought the kits, before I even started doing it, I researched it. These are step 1, they're size 14. I knew they were going to sting, I knew they were going to hurt a little, I knew that, how to do it safely. I researched it, I did everything. I didn't just say, hey, that looks cool, I'm going to do it, or that looks ugly, I'm not going to do it. I had to find the facts before I did it, and see if I wanted to do it. So I got, obviously, step 1 done, and if I decide, I don't want to do it anymore, I can just pull them out and let them close up. But I have it. I am, for me, I am, stretching my ears. a little bit. I'm not going to go too far with it, but that is, for me, my own personal thing. But, that's my perspective. My perspective is that I think that it looks good on me. Other people think that it looks terrible. Some people, their view on it is, we'll see it as, gross or cool or, whatever. Like in the early and mid 90s, there was a stigma on smoking cigarettes. Oh, you're not really cool. Or in the 80s also, but, you're not really cool if you're not smoking. You have that bad boy smoking a cigarette, and then you're just like, oh, I want to be the cool guy. And then, like, every girl's like, oh, I want a bad boy like that, stuff like that. And other people saw that as disgusting and, gross. And of course, we know now that, it can lead up to cancer. It could, mouth cancer, throat cancer, lung cancer, stuff like that. So, smoking is a bad thing. Another thing would be, like, perspective on, like, marijuana. People's perspective on that. It's a gateway drug, even though science is back that it's not. I personally, it doesn't matter. I've never seen anybody do anything like, rob a bank while, smoking marijuana, or harm anybody. And, science has backed, that, marijuana, or at least chemicals in marijuana, have health benefits, things like that. That's just, that's research. That's actual scientific research. So, for me, that changed my perspective by seeing this research. That changed my perspective on understanding how something like that would be considered a drug to being considered not so much of a drug. Another thing, like, heroin used to be cough medicine. Now we know that heroin is not a cough medicine. Heroin and Robitussin are completely different. And, that was the perspective back then, back in the 30s and 40s was when they sold heroin over the counter as cough medicine. Mercury was like, in ancient China, they believed that mercury pills could give you immortality. And we know now that, mercury is bad for you. So, perspective can be a dangerous thing, and I wanted to bring it up today instead of doing the meditation thing because, not because I wanted to put my 2 cents in it, but because I want to tell you guys that I want you guys to understand that as, followers of the Force in this ministry that I'm talking to you guys through, perspective is and can be a dangerous thing. When I'm talking about meditation, this is my own personal perspective on meditation. It's not, this is the right way to do it. Because there is no real right way to do a meditation. There is a right way to do like breathing, and there is a right way on how to um, clear your mind of things. There are wrong ways, there are right ways, but at the same time, it doesn't work for everyone. So perspective is a good thing, but yet a bad thing. It can be dangerous as well. Like pit bulls. People see pit bulls as dangerous animals, but it's not the pit bull's fault for being, thrown into dog fights. My sister has a pit bull, and she is the most loving animal in the world. I mean, literally, my sister has, her kids are crawling all over this pit bull. She's old, she might growl a little, like if they get on her bad hip. She might growl, but she won't snap. She doesn't snap, she doesn't bite, she doesn't do any of it. And that's it. If like my neighbors are outside and my dogs are playing with their rope that I bought them, they sound like they're fighting, but unless you see them playing, you're gonna think they're vicious animals. But my dogs are like the most harmless dogs in the world. My boxer bit me earlier today, right here on my finger, while we were playing tug of war with his rope, and he didn't like bite me. He was trying to get the rope away from me, it was, if you heard it, like it sounded like he was, attacking me, but he was actually just trying to take the rope from me, stuff like that. So like, perspective is, it can be dangerous, something that happened recently, I was at the store, and, I'm a cheery person. I'm usually pretty happy, and, like, hey, how are you? I'm talking to the clerk or whatever, and they're just like, ugh, because they're essential workers. They're wearing their masks, they're wearing their gloves, they're behind the plastic things, and they have people going crazy over hand sanitizers and gloves and masks and toilet paper and all these other things, and they see craziness, but they're trying to keep it together. I don't know what they're going through. They could have come into work at 4:30 in the morning, and I'm there at 6:30 at night, and they're working a double because somebody else got sick, and they're just like, oh, I'm so tired, I just want to go home, but if I leave here, who's going to be here, and stuff like that. So these are perspectives that you don't get to see. These are things that you don't know about unless you're doing it. And with what's going on in the world right now, we don't know what people are going through. We don't know their perspectives. One of the perspectives that I dislike currently is how people feel like, being self-quarantined in their house, they can't leave unless they're getting groceries. Not anymore. Some places are phase one opening, but these places or these people feel like they're in prison, and unless you've actually been locked up in jail or prison, you really don't know what it's like. Because over there you can't leave to go get food. You buy commissary and then they bring it to you in a bag, and you're still in the same cell block and stuck around the exact same people, and if you do something wrong you could get hurt physically, and a lot of people don't get a chance to do to get in their car and go get gas or go to groceries, or have a small time frame where they can go outside, and so we don't know the actual perspective, like, unless you've been locked up, that you don't, if you've never been locked up, then you can't say that it's like prison. If you've never been in the military, you can't say that the military's taking over, because the military's not taking over. So just because there's a military truck coming through your neighborhood doesn't mean that they're taking over. It means that they're, going through your neighborhood. They're probably, going through, seeing how many people are around. They, if these people need masks, if these people need gloves, these people need things that the National Guard could provide, and stuff like that. We don't know what's happening when it comes to that, because their perspective is different than what we're seeing. Unless martial law is declared and they start pulling out weapons and harming people, we don't know exactly what's going on. And the perspective is it can be dangerous. Another recent example would be during spring break. The Florida beaches, even though they were closed, hundreds of thousands of college students were out there partying, and then they were asking them, hey, when it's time for you to go home, self-quarantine, please. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. You're asymptomatic, or maybe you are immune, or I don't know. We don't know what happened, but we do know that it spread rather quickly. I'm sorry, I know I'm moving around a lot. I'm trying to keep myself comfortable on this bench. I'm outside, and because it feels good outside. I'm wearing a jacket, but it does feel good. It's breezy, and inside my house it's a little warm. So anyway, these are things that we don't understand the actual perspective on some of this. So we can't really say how it is unless we know the actual the actual truth about it. So yeah, I just wanted to just give a small overview on perspective. I just wanted to say, if you have an opinion on something and someone's disagreeing with you on it, try to find out the truth first. Understand that what you see may not be 100% true. Maybe it's 60% true. Maybe it's 75% true. Maybe it's 90% true, and they see the other 10%, or vice versa. Stuff like that. Definitely, look into things. Find out the whole truth before going on a rant, or stuff like that. And you don't want to burn bridges over something silly. You know, that maybe you were wrong, or maybe they were wrong, and then they find out and they're like, oh man, I'm sorry, you know? Stuff like that. So that's just what I have to say about that. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end it. And always keep an open mind. Always, try to find research, and always try to see the bigger picture on some things. Okay? Anyway, bye.